Hey guys, it's Raven Scry coming to you today on the 14th of May here in Australia. And this is the view from where I've been situated in my van for the last few days, trying to recenter and refocus my energy. Because wow, it's been a huge time over the past week or so, and so much crypto craziness also going on, and I hope everyone's okay out there. I know there's been a lot of losses, and in specific in connection to Luna and to UST, which have both tanked badly. Now I know for me personally there's been a lot of lessons through this time, and now I had some money which I'd taken out of my crypto and had on the sidelines, and I decided to put a large amount of it into UST. Now, when I did this, I questioned this decision numerous times. It just kept coming back to me, and so I asked Spirit, and I asked Spirit in March about UST, and they told me it was going to drop, major drop was their words, in about 2 months, and to be out by mid-May. So we're in mid-May, and so as I do, I write what Spirit shares with me in my book, and I often, much to my detriment, don't revisit it. But because it's been such a huge transition time for me, and I've been moving house and I've been changing my whole lifestyle and working on so many different things. So there's a lot going on for me. And in all of that transition, I just forgot about it. I forgot what Spirit said about it. And I just trusted that, it'll all be all right. And, within the media too, everyone was involved in it. So I just trust that, But it never seems to work out well when I just go with the herd essentially, and in some way just disconnect from Spirit because of, my turmoil, or I'm not focusing and centering enough. But, lessons of being a human, I suppose. So last week on the 5th of May, I left where I was staying in Melbourne and went to a place called Lake Mungo. Now, Lake Mungo is about 8.5 hours away from Melbourne. And this place I visited many years prior when I was on a school biology excursion, actually. And on the way to this excursion, years and years prior, my bag fell off the trailer that was carrying the students' luggage. So for a camp of 3 to 4 days, I was left with nothing, no clothes, no anything. I had to borrow a hat and some things for warmth off students and sleep in their tents with them. And, I was kind of just left with nothing. But in all of this, I felt very free. I found this freedom and almost like this excitement in the loss. And I was okay with it. I'd lost my bag with everything in it. My camera, everything that meant anything to me was just not there. But I was all right, and I found the trip to be very powerful, and it stayed with me for many years. So I decided to go back on the 5th of May, and I felt concerned as I was leaving. Something was niggling at me in regards to security. I was checking that things were locked and everything was secure before I left. There was this extra tension in me. But, that happens. So I just accepted that and took off to Mungo. So I left, and while I was there in this remote location, there was a lot of lessons coming through for me about connection to the land, to the sacred land, and to my past life history connections, to memories. It was like I was in a whirlwind of emotion that was not just from this time, it was from other dynamics and things that had happened, things that had taken place. And not only that, but there was other spirits and energies coming into that as well. So there was a lot of energy for me going on. And on the 9th of May, which is my birthday, it was a very challenging day emotionally. And it continued. There was a lot going on in me. I found it to be a big day, a big birthday, and I kind of moved through it, woke up the next day and, left to head back to Melbourne. And as I drove back to Melbourne, I came into range and looked at my mobile phone and looked at my crypto, looked at CoinGecko and watched UST dropping significantly. And as I was driving, UST was dropping. And there was this theme of loss again coming through, like when I lost my bag at Mungo the first time, and I had this freeing experience as I was leaving this time. It was like I was watching money just disappear, and this level of loss that came in connection. So as I drove, I felt this panic set in, just watching tens of thousands just disappearing over minutes. And I asked Spirit, well, what do I do? And being in a triggered state of fear and of survival and of losing so much of what I've made over the past years, it's always very hard to communicate clearly with Spirit in that place when there's emotional attachment. But they guided me to let it be, was the words. And, it makes me laugh because, again, they're quoting Beatles lyrics. And, I'm not someone who's ever listened to the Beatles. And they quoted it about Zill. All you need is Zill. And now it's let it be. And it's not as if I'm this big fan of the Beatles, but we're letting it be. So now I've watched UST almost go to zero, and there's now suspended transactions on Binance. So for the small amount that's left, it's not accessible. So in this whole thing, my lesson is to listen to what Spirit shares with me. And I've kept not listening. And it feels like I'm learning a very hard way through this. But in saying all of that, it is only money. But it does hurt. And I know so many are hurting from this experience of what's taken place. And my blessings go out to you all. And I feel your pain in this. Now, I know I've even heard people have taken their own lives from this event and from this loss that's taken place. And that's so sad to hear. But sending blessings and light and peace to anyone who's been affected through this whole debacle. Now, someone brought my attention to a lunar video that I did about 9 months ago called Journey into Space. And I listened to it and found it to be quite interesting in a few of the things that were mentioned. And in it, it was like I was describing the destination of me at Mungo. And I described the mountain range, which were like the sand dunes, and the water trickling down the sides, making these valleys down the side. And I was visited by a tribal man, and he went to give me this brown stone, which was interesting because I learned about the sacred ochre for men at this destination. But in this video, this tribal man went to give me this brown stone, and he says Luna, and before he gives it to me, he throws it up into the sky, and it's like we're entering into this other chapter for Luna. And I found it interesting because it's also the lunar eclipse coming on the 15th, the Scorpio lunar eclipse. I think it's the 15th. And as I was there, I was also getting this mention of the lunettes, which is what the sand dunes were called, these lunettes. So there was just so many little symbols coming into this picture. So if you'd like to listen to the video that I'm speaking about, I'll just pop it as a link in the description below. Now, to complete this sharing today, I just feel to connect to Spirit and just share briefly what they have to say about the incident with Luna and UST. So as I connect, they say all is not lost. The change occurring is big, and to allow it. Now I ask about UST and what's going to happen here, and they talk about global adoption still. It is not as it seems, and there will be future growth and success. Now again, they say, let it be. You will see positive outcomes down track. And I ask for any advice to people viewing this video, and they say some of you have lost a great deal, but it is not over yet. There is future capital coming. And then I hear quantitative easing, fresh capital. Now I also ask about Luna, and as I connect with Luna, it's like I see I'm shown this huge red candle down, and I just don't get a good feeling about it. It's not a positive feeling. So I ask Spirit, is there anything else to share with you guys today? And they just say, be strong and support each other through this. There is a great deal more to life than this incident. So be brave, let go, and let it be. Now they say they can't show me how it's going to pan out. It's like I try to project into the future. I try to move forward into the future, but they stop me there. There's a limitation at this time. They don't want energy in the situation because it needs time to unfold and move into what it's going to move into. And if there's energies interfering, that can block and change the flow. So they push me back there on this. But I want to thank them for their words today. Okay, guys, well, I'm going to leave it there. Any reflections, anything you'd like to share at all, please pop it below. And also, please hit the subscribe and share the video if you feel it would resonate with somebody else. It would mean a lot to supporting the channel. Stay safe out there. Until next time, Raven Scry signing off.